Cody Rhodes has lost the WWE Championship again. The man who cratered ratings so severely. That SmackDown got the boot right off Fox, dropped the gold again recently after a few wink-wink, nudge-nudge words and handshakes were thrown around in Saudi Arabia. You see, with Mansoor first transformed into the comically zesty MMM gimmick. And then future endeavored, Saudi Arabia no longer have a home nation hero to cheer at these events. Sami Zayn, while not Saudi Arabian, follows the preferred religion of the nation and is of Arabic descent. He is the closest to a hometown pup those crowds can get at the moment, and he's very popular there. And you might think to yourself, well, Saudi Arabia, they do pay a lot of money for these shows, sure. But can they really change the creative of these shows going forwards beyond their little events? The answer is, oh yes. Because Triple Nose is an uncreative cheapskate whose main booking practice is ripping off fans. With 4 to 5 match snooze fest PLE cards where half the titles aren't on the line and half the big stars just stay home. Saudi Arabia pay a lot of money for these crap fests. A lot! And they expect a decent show, which is fair enough. And where Vince McMahon took the time to give them over-the-top novelty shows full of big stars and goofy moments, Triple Nose thinks he can rip them off like any other crowd. He can't. And it was time to pay the piper on an abysmal show that lacked a Roman Reigns world title defense, a Brock Lesnar appearance. Guys that audience might have actually liked to see, but somehow thought the Saudis would enjoy watching some snooze-fest women's matches, and patron saints of the gays, Ricky Saints and Zest Rollins in singles bouts. The Saudi crowd, probably bored out of their mind with such a subpar show, gave Sami Zayn a big pop for the win. Sami Zayn, the epitome of why wrestling is so uncool in the mainstream now, from his whiny, feelings-heavy promos to his hobo aesthetic to a vegan-built body that reminds us of that scene in Neighbours where Seth Rogen takes his shirt off. Does this sound like ad hominem? Maybe, sure, but the ugly fact is wrestling is an image-based business, more so than most. So these are relevant criticisms in the discussion. And you know, there was a time where Sami Zayn as world champ could have actually worked. In 2023, he was hugely over as a goofy, underdog babyface, and could have enjoyed a quick run the way fellow unconventional babyface stars like Mick Foley and Jeff Hardy had done at the peak of their respective popularities. Obviously, only Jeff Hardy is cool of those three, but all three of them had big fan support at different points. But no, years after the peak of his popularity, Sami Zayn gets the big win now, as a muddled, pointless heel character coming off a character-destroying feud with a gingerbread man. All so he can pop one crowd on one night with a surprise title win. And here on SmackDown this week, it's clear what the plan is. Zayn is not a long-term champion, and the seeds may well have already been planted for him to drop the gold back to Rhodes next week on Raw. That's right, the SmackDown World title will be defended in a match between two SmackDown Superstars on Raw. You see, it's likely to coincide with TRT Punk's return, since that Raw is in Chicago, and they've been teasing a Punk-Rhodes feud since 2024, but we'll see, time will tell. Now, while Zayn is not world champ material, frankly, his promo on the fickleness of fans cheering him now after months of boos was pretty funny and accurate. These fans are indeed fickle. They're glory hounds. Now that he's world champ, we're going to get some cheers and probably some retards. Them, not Zayn. Cody Rhodes comes out to congratulate his pal-turned-rival, but Zayn sees through the BS and knows what we've all known since the early days of AEW. Cody Rhodes is dangerous. This nice guy act is just that, an act. The man's clearly a dangerous psychopath. Jey Uso then comes out to demand a title shot, even though he failed to win King of the Ring when a gassed Oberfemi ran through him, and therefore Uso has no claim to anything. Uso and Zayn were buddy-buddy together here before not Nick Aldis revealed Rhodes and Uso will play with each other later tonight to get a shot at Zayn's gold. To quote one of the absolute worst, most overrated waste-of-space commentators of all time, that ought to put some butts in seats. Anyway, spoiler alert for this review, nothing exciting happened on this show. At all, to put it simply. Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton are friends now. They've moved on from when they stunk the whole business out with one of the worst in-ring segments of all time, heading into last year's WrestleMania. They teamed up here with Chelsea Green to tackle Jade Carbuch and her useless, interchangeable sidekicks in a filler 6-lady tag match. And let me tell you something, if you've seen one of these filler women's tag matches they force onto every single show nowadays, you've seen them all. Kathy Kelly interviewed Julia backstage, and while these two are very easy on the eyes, this interview played out to crickets and tumbleweeds. They discussed Blake Monroe attacking Julia last week, and apparently, something I learned here, this is a callback to something from Stardom. That's right. WWE are now running angles from cult-following promotions in other continents. Brilliant! Anyways, Kiana James interrupted to further silence, and you realize how this show is full of complete nobodies, non-stop, all the time. Tony Storm's former sidekick turned nemesis, then beat both of them up. Great, at least that ended the segment, I guess. Ray Fenix, or Phoenix, whatever, and El Hijo del Bochingo put on a commercial for AAA next, a promotion that boasts the best feud and match of the year thus far by quite a wide margin. And if you're someone who hasn't seen the El Grande Americano War yet, don't bother with SmackDown, just go watch that match instead. Because that match absolutely slapped, as the youngsters say these days. Personally, I just say it was very good. Anyways, Fenix is a dependable crowd pleaser when he's actually allowed to, perform, and here was no different. The high-flying pair pinballed around the ring with an explosive gymnastic display of acrobatic lucha offense. The rapid-fire pace of this bout did wonders for the otherwise plodding, slow show it was on. Bochingo went against the unfortunate nickname I've given him when he nailed a great poison rana from the ropes for a tight near fall before missing a 450 splash, setting up Fenix's comeback for the win. Nice little TV bout, very neat and tidy, very athletic. Powerhouse Hobbs tried to buddy up with the Usos because he knows Jacob Fatu quite well or something. That was it. Going on 7 months now of Hobbs doing nothing of note or worth in the WWE here. Trick Williams out next, one of the few talents on this roster who could really go places and maybe even draw some crowds with the right push. Carman Hayes is also in the house, and if NXT is anything to go by, in fairness, these two have very strong chemistry on the mic and in the ring, so a US title feud ought to actually be pretty good. Great change of pace for Williams after dealing with the perpetual heat vacuum that is Ricky Snores. This promo was fine in setting up Hayes as a serious, determined challenger. After getting slapped by the champ, he hit a neat Fosbury flop onto Williams and Lil Butty on the outside. Decent segment overall. Danhausen, and this was horrifying, this next part. Trigger warnings were missing on the TV when I watched it, though. Danhausen then tortured and experimented on The Miz and Kit Wilson backstage. Am I the only one who sees how deeply disturbing and twisted this whole angle is? Danhausen is a sick freak catered to the sickos, and this was all very unsettling. And let's also remember he just about destroyed Manhattan with his curse on the NBA this year. He's a menace, a dangerous menace underneath the cringy for kids and tards only look and promos. That's his cover. He's clearly a minion of the devil himself. Oh, yes, I suppose it goes without saying that the shadow of Satan looms large over the WWE. Anyways, Brie Bella had a singles match in 2026, and wouldn't you know, somehow my finger just smashed that fast-forward button on the remote. Oh well. Main event time. Only a select few are allowed to beat Cody Rhodes one-on-one, and even fewer are allowed to beat him clean. To really put that in perspective for you, Roman Reigns' infamous WrestleMania 39 win on Rhodes was heavily tainted with interference, and Brock Lesnar's win on him in Saudi Arabia that same year revolved around Rhodes being too injured to compete at his best. And the likes of Drew McIntyre and John Cena also needed rule-breaking nonsense to get the better of the American Crymare. Basically, mid-card Jey Uso never had a prayer here. These two don't have much in-ring chemistry together, to be honest, and it showed again here with a clunky opening sequence of lockups, leading into some strikes and moves, before Uso landed badly on his ankle while going for a dive. Some close near falls towards the end livened this bout up a bit, and Rhodes busted out the second worst splash in the WWE today after Gunther's offensively bad jump from the top, before trying to garner fan sympathy in an extended sleeper hold spot with Uso. Fans largely remained politely quiet as Rhodes turned the rest hold into his finisher for the win everyone saw coming from a mile away. Pretty blur main event, to be honest, with a predictable outcome in a show that was largely filler and interchangeable with any other episode of SmackDown this year, or last year for that matter. Now, the title of the video is Lamest Champ Ever, referring to Sami Zayn. That probably reads like hyperbole, like a bit of clickbait to outrage Zayn fans to click the video and give it some negative engagement. Because, any engagement is better than no engagement, they say. And while I can appreciate it does seem that way, it's not. Oh no. It's true, it's genuine. It's the genuine opinion, that is, of this narrator, and opinions are never right nor wrong. The reason for the title and for that take is very simple. Sami Zayn, whether he means to or not, goes against everything that ever made WWE cool and or mainstream in years gone by. To give a few examples from yesteryear, from a few different generations, right? He is not a larger-than-life superhero or villain, like the cartoon-era giants, such as Hogan or Savage or Warrior. Nor is he a colourful but edgy anti-hero, like the best of the Attitude Era, like a Rock or an Austin or even a Triple H. And fast forward to the Ruthless Aggression Era, he's not a kid's hero like John Cena, or effortlessly cool like a Prime Batista, nor is he an effective slimeball heel like Edge or Chris Jericho during that time either. He's a somewhat funny, neurotic mid-card guy with a subpar look, an indie-rific style that's awesome to some and a bit silly to others, and a heavy emphasis on overly sensitive and sentimental character work. His peak was 2023 when he turned face on the Bloodline, and it's all been downhill ever since. Ever since that feud with the Bloodline that year wrapped, so he gets his nice moment at WrestleMania 39 where him and Kevin Owens win the tag belts. Main event, night one. Probably the peak moment of his career in many ways. He gets the Saudi Arabia tag title win with Owens over Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa as well, another big moment. But past that tag title run fizzles out. And Zayn as a character, slowly but surely, just keeps losing his heat until this weird forced heel turn they've had to do this year. Stale and meandering, and that's probably more creative's fault than his, but all the same, with that in mind, now, of all the times, now, he is getting a blink and you'll miss it title run as the big gold, held by the best of the best across 6 decades, is becoming a participation trophy award once again. This time largely, seemingly, for the corporate golden boys of the TKO slop era. What a dismal time to be a fan of the WWE.